Whoa, 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 whoa. What's up? What's going on in here? Are we really attacked or is just series of bad coincidence? We are just unlucky. Before anything, I'm Anderson America Shahri with another episode of Amir Hosseinism. I'm with you guys. I talk about the issues regard to America internally or globally. Especially, I started this channel after inauguration day. President Trump got into the office. There are a lot to talk about that, and there are a lot to be changed in the world. The thing that I believe actually is, I believe personally, what's going on. It's if you thought in last year everything that happened was crazy and everything was changing so fast, news after news, crazy thing after crazy thing. Unusual events after unusual events. Wait for this year, 2025, as I predicted, where restricted area. Go watch go read the book. It's available on Amazon, and then you will see what I'm talking about. That there are two books. Chapter 1, Smokers. Chapter 2, Restricted Area, and both are available on Amazon. And then you can order that. All the profits from my book sales gonna be donated to American children who are suffering, diagnosed with cancer, because I'm a nationalist and I'm from America. I belong to America, so it is my duty. America helped me to achieve my dream, so now it is my time to pay my respect back. So restricted area and smokers, restricted area chapter 2, talk about it's a novel fiction story, but if you go deep into it, there are so many answers there. So I believe you will be amazed, and it's a masterpiece. It's a first 5D book ever that has been written, as far as I'm aware of. Every books out there published. So without anything else, without further ado, let's just start jump to the topic. So you're gonna tell me right after President Trump got into the office and then the plane crashed, the one helicopter got into the collided with the plane, and after that, a few days actually prior to that, one day before, that was malfunctioning F-35, if I'm not mistaken, in Alaska base, and then thankfully the pilot used a parachute and then used a jump seat and then got out of the plane. So he, I believe, or she, I guess that's he, survived, but that was malfunctioning. Or it's kind of like an attack. They are under attack, and they are our enemies, adversaries, they are making messages. So now I'm gonna go deep into it. But before anything, I'm gonna have 1 minute of silence for all those souls that they have been lost in the plane crash, and those three pilots, soldiers in the helicopter. We're gonna have 1 minute of silence to respect those souls that we have lost, and may may their soul be in peace. All right. That was very sad. But there are so many things to unpack, and I'm going to give my opinion. First of all, we're going to go through that, what really happened, at what time, how everything happened, and what we know so far. And after that, I'm going to give my take. Let's go with explanation of first the animation of the visualization.
At Mint Mobile, we like to do the
Okay.
Tragic.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have it in here? Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, we have in here. It's good. It's good. I'm gonna make sure like you have the full image, full screen.
Crash while the plane was attempting to land on runway 33. In the videos ahead, we'll take a closer look at the final hours leading up to the crash. The confusion between the PAT-25 VIP military helicopter and the air traffic controller, and how the rescue operation is being carried out. More details all in the video ahead. The plane had departed from Wichita Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport in Kansas earlier that evening. A PSA Airlines aircraft, operated under American Airlines and identified as Flight AA5342, collided midair with a military Black Hawk helicopter at approximately 9 p.m. on Wednesday, January 29, 2025. The tragic incident occurred as the plane was making its final approach toward Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington, Virginia. American Airlines confirmed that 64 people were aboard the jet, 60 passengers and 4 crew members, while 3 soldiers.
Which many of them, they were athletes from the, I don't know, ski national or NCAA. They were athletes. They were in the, I don't know, in national team of skiing or something. Some of them, they were like, I don't know if that was like a travel to go back to their home or to their camp or for the competition. But there were many of them, I think they were teammates.
Soldiers were aboard the military.
Well, as we go, we're gonna know more because they haven't released the. In the briefing, President Trump said soon we're gonna release the names. I mean, we get into that, but first let's go with this
helicopter.
One.
This plane's radio transponder stopped transmitting about 2,400 feet, which is around 730 meters short of the runway, roughly over the middle of the river. This has marked the first major U.S. commercial crash in more than 15 years.
15 years.
From an aerial perspective, it is evident that Flight AA5342 was approaching the airport from the south, descending over the scenic Potomac River. This area is known for its proximity to several iconic landmarks, such as the Pentagon, located nearby in Pentagon City. To the north, one can spot the striking dome of the United States Capitol building, a symbol of American democracy. The Potomac River, which encircles the airport and much of Arlington, serves as a natural boundary and offers breathtaking views for arriving flights. However, this area is also densely trafficked, both by air and on the ground, adding to the complexity of air traffic management in the region. American Airlines Flight 5342, which we'll refer to as the landing flight, was on its final approach to runway 33. At this stage, called short final, the aircraft was mere moments from landing, flying at an altitude of about 400 feet. This is the most critical phase of landing where every second counts and pilots are laser focused on safely bringing the plane down. At the same time, an Army Black Hawk helicopter, identified as PAT-25, was reportedly on a possible training flight. It was flying perpendicular to the flight path of Flight 5342, following the course of the Potomac River. The Potomac River is a designated flight corridor for helicopters, and common to see aircraft like this operating in the area.
So so far they are saying like both of them, they were doing what they were supposed to do. So nobody was doing mistake. Is like the chopper was doing what they had to do. That was a training night session, and they had all night vision goggles. And they were doing what they were supposed to do at the time, and they got it clear from their tower, and their plane tower also give the thumbs up to the planes. But
the key difference between the two aircraft in this scenario was their operating rules. The Black Hawk helicopter PAT-25 was flying under visual flight rules. This means it was required to rely on visual observation of the surroundings to avoid other aircraft. The landing flight 5342 was operating under instrument flight rules, which give it priority over VFR flights in controlled airspace. This system assumes that VFR aircraft will actively maintain visual separation to avoid conflicts. Moments before the collision, the air traffic control tower at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport called PAT-25 to confirm whether they had the other aircraft in sight. PAT-25 responded that they did. At first glance, this seems like an acknowledgement that they were aware of Flight 5342's presence and were taking steps to avoid it. However, it now seems likely that PAT-25 had mistakenly identified a different aircraft, possibly a departing flight from the same airport, and believed
there's a shady thing going on in here. We're going to get into it.
That was the other aircraft referred to by the tower. Tragically, PAT-25 may not have realized that Flight 5342 was descending directly into its path. This misidentification could have led to the Black Hawk failing to adjust its course in time to avoid a collision. Although I'm not a pilot, this is what appears to have happened based on the available information. It's a heartbreaking incident that raises questions about how such misunderstandings can occur and what safety measures can prevent them in the future. If you have more insight or expertise, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.
All right. So first I talk about this one, and then we move to the other one, right? What was happening is like have this one as well.
New video shows a military.
So what was happening is like, I mean, later on in other videos, where I'm gonna explain more about exactly what happened. But what we know is like, so the chopper was doing what its helicopter was doing what it was supposed to do. It was a non-training, and crazy thing about that helicopter was actually those type of helicopter. There are 25 of them, 36 of them in the DC, and they are in charge of taking officials other sites. So can it be message, hey, look at these ones, how we brought it down. So just, hey, Americans, official America, just be careful, because while you think you're at your home, at your base, and everything is safe, we can bring you down. So because those officials, they were going, if something bad happened to America, those choppers, they are in charge of taking, I don't know, president, vice president, official, like secretary, all of those important roles in this administration, take them out of DC if DC is under attack. So it wasn't just regular plane that was doing their maneuvering, you know, like training. It was kind of like the one that if shit hits the fan, those big names, big people, they're gonna hop up into those chopper. So far, at least this is what we know. I'm gonna put all of them together, and then we see that what is going on. But the thing was, so the plane was going, the chopper was going, and then the tower was saying, making communication with the helicopter and say, hey, are you seeing the plane is coming? And the helicopter said, yeah, I saw. But actually, that was one other plane. And helicopter, when it said that, yeah, I saw, that was talking about another helicopter. So not the one that it hit later on, 27 seconds later. So what the helicopter, the pilot was talking about for the helicopter, was talking with another plane. And they said, yeah, I see that, don't worry, I got it. But actually, that was one other plane that the tower was talking about. And that they collided. It's so shady. It's so shady. It's not that as simple as it seems like. Now I'm going to tell you why. But it's not a bad idea to see this one.
Military plane crashing at a base in Alaska on Tuesday. As you're about to see here, the moment an F-35 fighter jet began to spin out of control. Then it just simply drops from the sky before crashing at Eielson Air Force Base. The crash happened during the landing phase of a scheduled training exercise. The U.S. Air Force pilot was able to safely eject, was taken to a hospital for more evaluation. The Air Force says the pilot reportedly experienced an in-flight malfunction, adding there will be a thorough investigation into the crash to make sure something similar doesn't happen again. Incredible sight. And
again, it just happened. So since when F-35 gonna malfunction? When was the last time F-35 was malfunctioning? When was it? And they all happened in 24 hours. Are we getting threat messages from outside, from our enemies? Are they in here to give us something like, hey, you have to stop what you're doing in Panama Canal, I don't know, tariffs on the China, Russia deal with the Ukraine, peace deal, are we getting something in here, like our enemies in Europe? Like another day I saw that Macron was saying like, yeah, we're gonna send a troop. I don't know if Macron said that, but France said that they are ready to send the troops into the Greenland to defend from who? Your best ally? You know, without us, Russia would take a swallow, like devour, whole the Europe. The reason that they haven't is because of us, and now you want to defend Greenland from us? Since when? Like, everyone is turning against us because they don't like that America is not just feeding them. Now all the countries are unhappy why America is not, why President Trump paused the financial aid for 90 days. It froze all the foreign aids to other countries, and countries, they were upset. Bro, that's our money. That's our tax money. It's not your money. They're upset why you stop helping us. What have you done for us? And all these countries that are mad that we stopped helping them, eventually they're gonna join BRICS anyway. Going back to topic, we're gonna get there. Don't worry. But in here, I saw that like F-35 malfunction in Alaska base, and you want me to believe that United States, the great. I mean, if that was the case, I know things happen, shit happens, but all happened in 24 hours right after each other, and F-35 for fight in Alaska base malfunction, and also in DC, the helicopter that is in charge of maybe one day, God forbid, President Trump would be there. Now it gets even shadier. Stay with me, stay with me. I'm gonna show you the crazier part, which is, well, you know, the Pete Hegseth, if I'm not mistaken, like Defense Secretary. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth got confirmed, right? 2 days ago, got confirmed for this administration. He had a follow-up. He wanted to update people with that. What happened really? Then I'm gonna play it for you guys, and then go through that and see what he had to say.
But I also want to give an update on the tragedy that happened last night here in Washington, D.C., and provide a little bit more information as we are actively working to investigate and understand what occurred and why. At about 8:48 last night, a UH-60 assigned to the U.S. Army Aviation Brigade in the Military District of Washington, Fort Belvoir, Virginia, collided tragically with a civilian airliner. The unit involved, the Army unit involved, the Bravo Company 12th Aviation Battalion at Fort Belvoir. It was an annual proficiency training flight. And when we look at the crew, and not all can have been notified, so we're going to withhold ranks and names at this point. We do know on our side who was involved. It was a fairly experienced crew, and they was doing a required annual night evaluation. They did have night vision goggles. The 12th Aviation Battalion, as of now, is granted a 48-hour operational pause on contingency missions as what happened is reviewed. And a senior level aviation team, an investigative team from our Aviation Safety Center, was deployed last night and already is in Washington, D.C. to investigate what's going on. We anticipate that the investigation will quickly be able to determine whether the aircraft was in the corridor and at the right altitude at the time of the incident. As I mentioned, next of kin notifications are ongoing. It's a tragedy, a horrible loss of life for those 64 souls on that civilian airliner, and of course, the 3 soldiers in that Black Hawk. They're in our prayers, their families, and their communities. As people are notified, I can't imagine. And I know it's gone from a rescue mission to a recovery mission, and we're with all the first responders that are moving actively too. So at the Defense Department, our thoughts and prayers go out. We are actively investigating to find out.
Okay. So now we want to see this Black Hawk. That helicopter is not only it's expensive, but also it was one of our best. And such a shame that is what's happening. Now we're gonna go deep into it. 1 second, I want you to watch this one as well, just a heads up.
Overhead, officials in the nation's capital are searching for answers. We will look at the aircraft, we will look at the helicopter, we will look at the environment in which they were operating in. This video shows the helicopter crashing into the passenger jet around 8:45 last night. Another angle in this EarthCam video. Everyone on board American Airlines Flight 5342 and the Army Black Hawk helicopter are presumed dead. The American jet from Wichita, Kansas, landing after a last-minute but routine runway change. The Army helicopter on its usual path for standard night training, but flying at 350 feet instead of 200. Audio from air traffic control reveals the military pilot acknowledged he saw the jet approaching the runway.
Now you see, it's clicking yet.
Why didn't the helicopter change course?
The helicopter said, "We see it and we accept visual separation."
President Trump today seeming to agree.
The helicopter obviously was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He then speculated, without providing evidence, the crash was a result of his predecessor's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, initiatives involving.
Now President Trump is talking about DEI. What does he mean?
Diversity hiring, and what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know.
The FAA had similar diversity policies under both Presidents Biden and Trump's first term.
Okay, so the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter crashed into the national airline, American airline. This is a little shady. It's not like, it doesn't seem like a just incident. And based on what we heard, we're gonna get back to it and then conclude something together. Just have everything in your mind, everything that we talk about. We have to hear what President Trump.
Even yet know the names.
And then I'm gonna bring all those pieces together. I'm not gonna say like I know the answer. If I knew that, I would be working for the CIA or FBI. But as I said, because I have written like the genre is about the science fiction and crime, so about the journalists and detectives working on the crime case. So my brain think like a detective. So I can I have been doing I have worked on the book for 2 years, 2,500 hours I have spent on that. So somehow I the meme, it says William Defoe, I am kind of engineer myself, I am kind of detective myself. So since I write a book, a story, and I make the crime story, write the crime story as author, fiction. So I can see I love putting puzzle together because I create one in my story. So now I'm going to create put all of them together and then tell you what I think based on what we are hearing. All right, let's see what President Trump has to say.
Of the 67 people who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control, and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane, you think that's going to make a difference? They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military, but I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you. Please.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for being here. Based on your analysis so far, do you have a sense of who was at fault, if it was the plane, the helicopter, air traffic control, and can you assure people that it is safe to fly in and out of D.C.?
Well, I've given you the analysis, and the analysis was it was based on vision. You had a lot of people that saw what was happening. You had some people that knew what was happening. There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late. Those warnings were given very late. It was almost as they were given a few seconds later, there was the crash. It should have been brought up earlier. But the people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going. I can't imagine people with 20/20 vision not seeing what's happening up there. Again, they shouldn't have been at the same height. You're going in reverse directions or sideways directions. Obviously, you want to be at different heights. I see it all the time when I'm flying. You have planes going in the opposite. They're always lower. We're higher. So if somehow there's a screw up, there's not going to be a tragedy. It'll be close. But there's never going to be a tragedy if you're at a different elevation. For whatever reason, they were at the same elevation. And also, from the American Airlines Center, he's along the track that every plane is along. You say, what was the helicopter doing in that track? Very sad. But visually, somebody should have been able to see and taken that helicopter out of play, and they should have been at a different height.
Like you say, you mentioned the Russians that were on board that plane. What other nationalities were on board that?
There were a couple of others. We're going to be announcing it in about an hour. We have some very specific information. We're calling the countries. We've spoken to most of them, but there were some other countries represented.
President Putin?
I have not, no. Not about this.
On your executive order, you've already issued an executive order. You say, well, restore aviation safety.
Right.
This crash happened after that. Was the executive order successful, and what more need to change to keep people safe?
Well, we issued it 3 days ago, and we're in the process of making those changes. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. Actually, my original order should have never been changed, and I think maybe you wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. We see everyday life that very often those diversity hires cause sometimes issues, as you just mentioned. So what plan do you have? Are we going to see some fire? Are you going to fire some of those diversity hires in the federal government? What's plan do you have?
I would say the answer is yes. If we find that people aren't mentally competent, you see the language. The language is put out by them. And if you see that, I'm not going to bore you by reading it again, but these are not people that should be doing this particular job. They'd be very good for certain jobs, but not people that should be doing this particular job.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistakes. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistakes.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense. Okay, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They use companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
I want to ask you about ice skaters in a moment because the U.S. ice skating committee was affected. But first, if I I can. The cited FAA text that you read is real, but the implication that this policy is newer that it stems from efforts that began under President Biden or the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is demonstrably false. It's been on the FAA's website. No, it's on the website. The FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the entirety.
What I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration too. So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first
I did
administration?
change it. I changed the Obama policy, and we had a very good policy. And then Biden came in and he changed it. And then when I came in 2 days, 3 days ago, I signed a new order, bringing it to the highest level of intelligence. Okay. Please. Quiet.
Thank you. Welcome back to the. I'm sorry. You mentioned that a vision was probably the problem that was at issue in this crash. There's been some reports that one of the pilots in the helicopter may have been using night vision equipment. Was there any?
I heard that. We don't know. We're going to know that pretty soon. It may change your viewplane if you do have the night vision. So it's very possible that could have happened. That would be maybe a reason why you wouldn't actually see as well as on a clear night. You can see sometimes better without it. A couple more.
Is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly? Is it helpful to have your Secretary of Transportation confirmed, and does this intensify your interest in getting other nominees confirmed quickly as well?
For sure, we want fast confirmations, and the Democrats, as you know, are doing everything they can to delay them. They've taken too long. We're struggling to get very good people that everybody knows are going to be confirmed, but we're struggling to get them out faster. We want them out faster. It's a good question, actually. We've been pushing Sean. Everyone knows Sean for a long time. We got many Democrats very good questions, but they want to just keep it going. They want to keep it.
The training that the helicopter was involved in, is it anything you can tell us about
You
that?
don't know. These are the things that will come up with the investigation. You don't know, but the helicopter obviously was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Critical of the current regulations, and you called for big reforms at FAA. Hesitant to fly, and if you could clarify perhaps something that the Secretary said.
Practicing. They do that. They call it practicing, and and that's not what they refer to. But it was basically practice, and it was a practice that worked out very badly. No, not at all. I do not hesitate to fly. This is something that it's been many years that something like this has happened, and the collision is the people that you've already hired for that position will not appropriate what they're doing. I think it's a tremendous mistake. You know, they like to do things and they like to take them too far, and this is sometimes what ends up happening. Now, with that same level, going in opposite directions, it's not a positive. But no, we're already hiring people. No, flying is very safe. We have the safest thing at the same level.
You changed the policy during your first administration.
3 days ago, I signed a new order, bringing it to the highest level of intelligence. Okay.
And the question is, why didn't you? No, it's on the website. Efforts. The U.S. Ice Skating Committee was
highest level of. It's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest. I think it's very important. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating the system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They use companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
I want to ask you about.
Okay. I'm not saying now we know everything, but now we can at least connect some dots together. And I want to avoid conspiracy theory because, I mean, come on, guys. So like around 70 people of us died yesterday. It's not something like we have to try to blame each other. It's not something that we have to use as an issue, as a pivot point to attack the opposite party or those people that we disagree with. It shouldn't be a place to revenge on personal level. Like we all have to get united to fix the problem and see who was behind that, because it's not about Republican, Democrats, conservative, liberals. It's about Americans' lives that they are wasted. They are taken, like they got killed for no reason. For just one simple mistake, tragic mistake. Like, to be honest, at 2025, it's very hard for me now to accept something was tragic mistake, because I saw so many things that we used to believe that was a mistake, that was something that already for a long time had been planned. So now let's connect those dots, right? We know that the helicopter, the Black Hawk, was supposed to be in altitude, like it had to be, the elevation should have been 300, but it was 200. So it had to be higher, right? 350 feet above the ground, but it was 200, right? That we know one fact. Two, we know that the plane lost the signal just right before the collision, because before it collided with the Black Hawk, it lost the signal, communication, video, everything was fine, but just happened. I understand some people say, like in soccer, we say, when people are playing soccer, they say, well, if the other team doesn't make a mistake, the opposite team, they cannot score the goal. Look, if everyone does what they are supposed to do, basically it's almost impossible. If your job is to not get dribbled, nobody passes you, don't do this, don't do. If you do everything just like a robot, basically it's going to be impossible to get a score unless somebody can do something that you can do. Like this is what they say. There's a slang in soccer. They say, so somebody shouldn't make a mistake, so other one could score the goal. So it's not like always we give blame. Yeah, of course that's like somebody makes mistake, somebody takes advantage of that. So I understand, like you said, well, the only reason that it could have happened if the Black Hawk was on 350 instead of 200 for altitude, like the elevation, but and also the plane didn't lose a signal, and then a helicopter, the Black Hawk, the soldier inside of it, the pilot who was making communicating with the tower, said. Yeah, I can see the plane right. So there should be a series of unfortunate mistakes or unlucky events. So something that is not unpredictable, but happening. Series of chain of unfortunate things happen together, so a tragedy could happen, right? So if everything goes well, there will be no tragedy. If the helicopter was 350 instead of 200 feet above the ground, if the plane didn't lose a signal, if the helicopter was talking about the right plane, if the tower specify exactly which plane are you talking about, if all of them happen, or at least one of them or some of them happen, so it would be prevented. So in one hand, they say if tragic happens, means something bad unintentionally happened together that it happened, because even if one of those bad things didn't happen, it could be prevented. It could be avoided. But no, I think that's deeper than that, because it's almost impossible. All those unlucky stuff happened right at the same moment. 21 seconds, 26 or 21 seconds after the chopper said, the helicopter communicated with the tower and said, yeah, I see the plane. That was a communication. 21 seconds later, you hit another tower. And then something which is very, very interesting and something to look for was like, look, this is the plane and this is the chopper, right? So while the plane was going, the chopper maneuvering was going. So the helicopter, the Black Hawk, hit the side of the plane. Well, let me show you. So imagine like you are seeing from below or above, right? This is the plane, this is the chopper. So the plane was going, like imagine like you are seeing from front, like a GTA 2. Like as it was going, right? Let's see, as it was going, the chopper crashed into the side of the plane, right? This was it happened. How didn't you see that? Yeah, let's say before, when it was here, there was another plane in here. When they asked you, you said, yeah, I see it. But actually they mean this plane, not that. Okay, fine. But how about in here, it came in front of you. It's not like it came out of nowhere. That's for one. For two, Black Hawk didn't have the radar system. Bro, if something happened, this helicopter, this Black Hawk was supposed to take the president out and didn't have the radar. What are we talking about? Are we talking about like even like third world countries? Like probably only Taliban doesn't know that how to use those Black Hawk that we left there in Afghanistan under Biden administration, how to use them. So probably only Taliban didn't know that. So you are telling me in DC that, as you saw in the video, it's very like busy on more than it's busy on the ground for the traffic is the traffic on air. It's busier on air than on ground. And you see they didn't put any system for the Black Hawk to be able to communicate with other planes just in case. I'm telling you, think about it in that way. The Black Hawk was designed to be placed in DC for bad situation. How is it possible? You are there, 36 Black Hawk, they are in DC only to take those officials, those governors, those big important people out of the DC if it's under attack. And you didn't design something to be ready for those days? Very first thing that you need to have is a radar. How is it even possible to not have it? It was training, right? And that was night training. Night training for what? For fun? For mission accomplished like GTA? To do the side quest? To get the tokens? To get the points? It was for that day. If something bad happened, so we are ready. You were not ready. How is it possible 36 Hawks are there and they're saying like, oh, apparently they didn't have radar? What was the point of having them over there if they were not designed to have the radar? I'm not going to believe that. Not only Black Hawk didn't have the radar, those are special, because, for example, you say the cop car, they are generally just like any other car, GMC or like Ford and stuff, but they just added things to it, to have advantage other civilians' cars if they are chasing them, right? So it seems like one of the other cars, but actually it's very upgraded. So this Black Hawk is just not regular Black Hawk, it's the one that should carry president, vice president. And it didn't have it. It didn't have the radar. Because you didn't need to, because now they are saying, after 21, after it said to the, make a communication with the tower and said, well, yeah, like I can see that, don't worry. But actually, by mistake, was talking about another plane, not the plane that it collided 20 seconds later. Let's assume, let's put it in that way. All right, okay, so let's say you didn't have night vision goggle. Pete Hexet said they had. Let's say you didn't. Let's say the tower was sleepy. Just said that, hey, do you see that plane? It says, yes, don't worry, I got it. I say, yeah, okay, look around. Let's say all of this unfortunate thing, all those lazy mistakes happened right at the same time. That's fine. What about you are facing it? What about that? You didn't have eyes either. You didn't have night goggles, but you didn't have eyes either. You didn't have night goggles. You could see with your eyes. It's coming in front of you. They are saying in those 26 seconds they were looking around. Bro, it's a plane. It's a Black Hawk. It's not a plane. It's not autopilot or something. 24/7, the pilot for the Black Hawk should be focused and concentrated on that. There is no autopilot on that thing. How did you not look like, especially, yeah, I could see in middle of nowhere, let's say Arkansas, or above the woods, like in Nevada desert, like somewhere like it's above the oil, like on the ocean, on the shore, like somewhere that you see, what am I gonna hit? You know what I'm saying? I could see like you were not very fully concentrated, but in the busiest place in the United States, in 9 p.m. when there is night, you were talking and cracking jokes with each other that you didn't see what was coming in front of your face. This is a question that we should ask, right? Don't you think so? Like, yeah, I could see, like, if you got out of the way, out of the town, nothing, you could go easier, like, you wouldn't care that much. But the thing is, like, at least in the beginning, while still you are in town, you would be focused, right? Plus, especially, you don't have autopilot, so you have to be focused. And not only that, at night, at least you could see those lights. So, few months ago, that was drones. Those drones, UAP, UFO, whatever you're gonna, those drones on top of New Jersey, close to DC. And some civilians, they flew their own drones to go close to them, and they all lost their battery and they got down. Like a parasite, like a malfunctions, and they got down. Like, when you said you corrupt their machine, the computers, and it stopped working, fall down. Like sometimes happens when you want to hack the system, you throw some frequency to, mess with the computers, right? So those drones for 6 hours flying over the on the sky of New Jersey, and then went back to the ocean for 6 hours, went straight. What type of battery were they using? Besides that, the size was SUV size. How much lithium you were storing? Even doesn't matter how much. It's still like, even Tesla can drive on ground but cannot lift off. If you lift off the ground, the energy that you have to use, the battery that you use is 10 times, 20 times more than it is on the ground. So it's not like, oh yeah, well, we can drive for 3 hours with the SUV, electric SUV. Yeah, but because you're on the ground. The moment that you want to lift up, for how many minutes can you keep your drones off the ground? Ask yourself that. You can have the controlling car on the ground and then play it with the controller, and you can see you can drive it with the one battery for 2 hours. But 2 hours, you put your drone in the charge for 10 minutes. These ones, 6 hours were walking around, 6 hours going off the shore, and eventually probably landed on the, like, I don't know, like a submarine or something. 1 month ago was that. And some people, they had the experience, they put their drone close to those drones, but their own drones, they got the malfunctions and then dropped, fell, or lost all the battery charges. Like they received like a, you know, like a gun charges, like send you charges and then mess with your all those electronic devices. That happened. And then 24 hours ago, Alaska malfunctioned, and today, 30 seconds before getting to the track, the plane lost the signal, and the helicopter by mistake saw one other plane and said, yeah, I saw that, but didn't see what it was in front of its face. And not only that, it gets even worse. Bro, let's say for some reason they were so, they were drunk. They were drunk and they didn't use the right radar, which is impossible. It's still like, you cannot convince me Black Hawk that is in, they were doing the training how to take the president out of DC if it is needed. So you should have had radar. Let's say they didn't for some reason, right? Why the hell didn't the tower for the helicopter, the Black Hawk tower, communicate with the plane tower? Why didn't they have each other schedule? Are we talking about the third world countries? I mean, if that was so messy and unscheduled, we would have seen many of them like all these years, not after 15 years see one. It means all the time that was everything based on the schedule, everyone was doing their job that they prevented. Because the way that you see the sky in the DC, it's so easy that they all collided with each other. And the only reason that for 15 years it didn't happen is because everything had a system. And only 24 hours the Alaskan incident F-35, this happened. That's so funny and sad. People died. And it's so funny that people still believe that. Listen, I could see like people were saying, okay, let's just Biden administration leave. When Trump comes, everything gets better. Now Trump is in office. We demand answer. People died. Do you understand? People died. To just say tragic mistake. Aren't you tired of these BS's? Tragic mistake. Not only that. And then, how the hell didn't the tower for the plane says to the plane, hey, the chopper is coming to you? Because the way it is, like the chopper in the last second tried to avoid, but the plane was going straight. So the plane wasn't aware of the Black Hawk is coming to it, and the Black Hawk wasn't aware of that plane is on the way. One of them I could see, like the pilot for the Black Hawk was drunk. Pilot for the plane was drunk too, couldn't see, like they don't have radar or anything. Are we using the plane from 70 years ago after Cold War? And then the tower for the plane didn't notice that either. The best radar you could have is for those airport plane towers, control room. And then the fourth one, the tower for the Black Hawk. So all four of them at the same time decided to be drunk, to not see what's going on. Because when you see, like, why did the plane lose the signal for once? Two, Why didn't the tower for the Blackhawk says, hey, listen, you said that you got it, but actually you are going into it, like you are facing it? Nothing. You see some of these Indians trains, they have better preparation than this one. It's like a joke. Like in those 21 seconds between the time that message was sent, oh, we got it, don't worry, we know that what we are doing, the Black Hawk pilot says, till that 26 seconds later when it collided, in that 26 seconds was a silence. So nobody says that, hey, what do you mean you got it? You are still going toward that. Hey, copy that? Nothing. Oh, I trust you. Or probably I'm seeing something with mistake. For sure they got it. No. Right now we need to have answer. We need to know what happened. And that's not okay to say we have to wait 30 days. It should be 24. It should be right now. It's still the name of the people who died is not there. So I believe that what if somebody just like manufactured for F-35 in Alaskan base, something happened in here? Plane lost the signal. The chopper wasn't focusing in the busiest hours in the DC. Seriously, is it what am I supposed to believe? Not really. And then, based on those executive order that President Trump is saying, is sending a message to the world like we are not messing anymore. So they're doing what they are doing. 15 million illegal immigrants have come to the country. So you think all of them, they came just by themselves for the better future? None of them were sent by those adversary, those governments that we are in competition or they are our enemy? So you think none of them, like it's so funny, some of those, I heard that like, I don't know if that was China or what, they came illegally in here and they exactly knew where to go, what to implant, because nobody is checking you yourself, let alone your backpack. They were just going implanting something next to those towers and stuff. And you might say, like you're saying, like they were sending charges to manufacture. But just New Jersey, I'm saying there were 100 like SUV-sized drones for 6 hours on the sky, and nobody could do anything about that. And now this is so unbelievable for you. Saw it with your eyes, and the shape of those drones, they were not very aerodynamically very efficient, because the way that you make drones should be with the least amount of energy, you get the most efficient like result. That's why they put the four like the engine comes in middle, and it has the like some of them they put the 4 engines on the 4 sides of it when it's rotating. But this one that you see look like a Batman movie, because for the movie you don't care about if it is aerodynamically it is efficient or not. You say if it looks good or not. Those drones more look like if they look good or not. Because if we made the drone like that, we had to put so much more energy for less time flying on air. So we saw New Jersey, now we saw F-35 24 hours ago, and now today we saw the collision, Black Hawk colliding with the plane. So I believe these ones are do you want to believe they are series of unfortunate events, or somebody sending us a message? Especially after, like, Border Patrol were saying millions of people are coming and we don't know who they are, where they are going. And some of them, they were too precise. As soon as they came, they knew where to go, who was waiting for them. Besides the sex trafficking, all those stuff, also you are seeing very bad stuff. What if they are doing to corrupt our system? When we are attacked, we cannot defend ourselves. That was one sign. If something happened in DC, your president wants to leave, right? How is one gonna leave? Like with one of those Blackhawk, right? We got you. Or if you're attacked, you want to send your F-35 to defend your country to your border, right after the Iron Dome that President Trump issued 48 hours ago to defend the border of United States. Right after that, oh, you want to defend yourself, oh, you want to attack your enemy with what? With your jet, with F-35? Oh, just malfunction. Oh, so you want to like independent day, like you want to have the safe and calm sky so your civilians wouldn't panic? Or what if you have 600 drones on top of the sky, and even if they send their own drones, they cannot even, like, it's gonna lose its malfunctions and then fall down? Oh, too bad. We send our drones from middle of nowhere, bring it in here, 6 hours maneuvering, and then go back. And you see it, and there's nothing you can do about that. This is what we are dealing with. I'm not saying you should panic. I'm saying you must panic. What else are you expecting for? Like, what else are you waiting? What else if it happened you're expecting? If this happens now, say, oh, something bad gonna happen. What else? I'm asking. Seriously. Everything that could give us a message, send us a message that, hey, listen, if we attack you, you are vulnerable. We already have got those messages. Drones from New Jersey, malfunction, F-35, and now Black Hawk colliding with the plane. And all those three, they're very important. New Jersey is close to the DC. And also they saw some of them in California and also in the DC, but mostly New Jersey. So that's one. So we got your air, and there's nothing you can do about that. Two, F-35, you want to attack back? What are you going to do? If we put a virus in your plane, if we put a chip over there, or we send the charges that your plane stopped working. So your plane to attack doesn't work. And your chopper to take rescue the president is going to crash too. As I'm saying, for 21 seconds, the pilot of Black Hawk wasn't paying attention. What about the tower? The tower just asked 21 seconds ago, hey, are you seeing that? And he said yes. I would say, well, what do you mean you are seeing that? And I ask you, you're seeing that, and you say yes. You're still going toward it. You're going to collide with it. 26 seconds of silence. Because that was too much trust. And Pete Hegseth was saying, look, they were fairly experienced. Fairly experienced. I heard that somewhere they had only 500 hours of flight experience. 500 hours in 9 p.m. in DC. That on air is more busy than on ground. And let's say, okay, eventually you have to let them do it. Why wasn't, like, if for 15 years it didn't happen, why wasn't there a system that makes sure it doesn't happen? And if that was a system that makes sure it never happens for 15 years, why wasn't that system working that night? Why was everyone sleepy and needed a cup of coffee? That's all I'm asking. And President Trump said DEI. Listen, I don't know if he's making, because sometimes he sent an encrypted message to say, I know what's up, I'm not gonna let my people panic, but I'm sending the message, I'm talking to them, but actually I'm talking to you. I'm talking to them, but the way that I talk, so you get the message when it's used at DEI. Think about that. We found out some of those DEI employee hirings, they were already implanted. It wasn't like, oh, you are people of color, oh, you are in minor in sexual orientation, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. No, they were saying this person comes as a DI done. So it was saying like, hey, I know who you implanted in the system. So DI, did he mean by DI, hey, I know who you put into the system to destroy it from inside, to collapse it from inside? I know you're a spy. I didn't want to say that, but now I'm saying, I know you're a spy. they came as a DI. Was it a message? Like Trump sent back the message, hey, I know what's up, and when I get them, then I come after you. So like it was more than like, oh, these people were incompetent. It was more like, wait a second. You came in here to destroy the country as a DI. Because so many of these people that are coming here, it's not just only they are incompetent, they are competent in destroying it. Well, sometimes you say there's no way that if you're stupid, you cannot be destroying everything beautifully, perfectly. Because you are incompetent. Even if you want to destroy it, you cannot make it perfect. But that was too perfect to be coincident. Especially after this chain series of tragic events. So we have to wait and we have to demand answer. And now we have President Trump over there. The whole thing was transparency, and we are here to stop everything. So we shouldn't be worried about backlash or anything. People have spoken in America and they voted for Trump because they want to change, and they already cleared what they are expecting. That's why right now, in opposite, contrary to the 2016 first term of President Trump, you are seeing actually there are not so much people being quiet about deportation. Back in the day, like they were saying deportation, they liked that, but they couldn't talk about that because others would be annoyed. Now people are supporting it and they say, yeah, this is what you get. So those crying, those emotional footages, that doesn't work anymore. So we voted for change. We don't want it to happen. In Biden times, when the drone in New Jersey happened, we could say that's a Biden. He's not transparent with the American people. But we voted for Trump to have transparency. 30 days is too long. We need the answer right now. Are we under attack? It's better to know that what is waiting for us and be panicked rather than leave us clueless, just in order to not panic, because the moment that it happens, either you like it or not, we're gonna panic anyway. But at least right now we have time for preparation. So I think we should we should be a little skeptic. Is Secretary Pete Hegseth, like, come on, answer. Like, you can give the answer of those pilots. There were 3. You already know that who were in the Blackhawk. What are you waiting for? Today, tomorrow is late today. 70 Americans died. And if it happened to turn out that it was somebody was behind that, why did we say we have to release the JFK documentation? Because we said nobody should feel safe after what they are doing to America. You know what I'm saying? To America, like, we have to demand the answer. We shouldn't declassify some information and classify other ones, the new one that is coming for next 30 years. Right now we have to go there. And I'm hoping President Trump, I believe in him, like he's gonna get it done, and we're gonna have the answer. Already he said, like, I know that what are those drones, and government knows that, and people deserve to know that. Exactly. We deserve to know about the New Jersey drones. Also, we deserve to know that this crash. It's too much. It's too bad to feel like, oh, they were just reckless. Nobody was reckless. It just in perfect time, they stopped communicating with each other. They got silence, and the chopper with the night goggles and having eyes and seeing in front didn't do it. And then the plane also lost the signal. Plus, one other thing, last but not least, is like President Trump was mentioning, like, I wanted to change the system, make the better one, but Biden was re-innovating it, spend more time to keep this old system to just upgrade them. Instead, I just said build a new system. That part I kind of disagree. Because let's say the oldest version of American system, let's say 20 years ago, whatever America had 20 years ago, prior to in Bush time, forget about the Biden, forget about Trump, forget about Obama in Bush time. Still, it wouldn't happen. So it wasn't like, oh, we didn't have a good system. India or Iran or Afghanistan, Pakistan have the system that makes sure it doesn't happen. And America, that we are 20 years ahead of the world, Now it happened because we didn't have a good system. This part, I understand, like I respect that President Trump wants to make sure that people are not panicking, but if it wasn't like, forget about the Biden, the system that Trump put in place and wanted to renew that, make a new one. And Biden said, no, let's just upgrade the one that we already have, not bring the new system. Forget about that. Let's find the older system. Still, it wouldn't have happened. So we have to wait and see what happens, what they're gonna say, and we're gonna get know more as we go forward. God bless you, and may those souls that now they are not with us be in peace. Thank you, and see you next time. And like always, as above, so below.